Hello and welcome back to Xpwaste, where you have less than a week to ask me to be your Valentine. Hi, I'm Michael.
And I thought for sure I was going to be Michael's Valentine, but I didn't know that was on the table for other people. We'll have to have a chat about that in bed later. Anyways, I'm Oxie. I'm the co-host of the Xpwaste podcast alongside Michael here. And we're a podcast that talks almost exclusively about old school RuneScape. If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, Oxie, why is your head turned to the side? We're preparing for a breach because I am a professional podcaster and we're going to try to breach and podcast at the exact same time because fuck it, we ball. Why not? But if you're new around here, we are here for old school RuneScape. Today, specifically, Deadman mode. If you're not new around here, Deadman mode has been going about as well as you would have expected it to from Michael and I. So, yeah, if you're like, oh, how's that going? You already know. How have you guys been this week? Because we're not alone today, I guess. That's probably a better way to word it. If you were new around here or not new around here, we're actually joined by a guest. I'm so used to having him around antagonizing us that I forgot he was a guest on the show, if that makes any sense, despite asking him to come on. Who the hell are you? Tell us about yourself. Who the hell are you?
I'm Tiki Mug.
All right, cool. Simple.
I don't know what else to. I'm not a streamer. I've got nothing to plug. I've got nothing.
We're gonna head to commercial. See you guys in a little bit.
Third mod of TNL, I suppose, but I mean, I got nothing to plug. I hide in the background. I do the tech stuff.
That is true. He does do the tech stuff. But yes, we are joined today by Tiki. This episode kind of came about because we're like, oh, let's record today. And then it's like, oh, we've not done Deadman. And it's like, oh, shit. Well, if we've not done Deadman, we're going to talk about Deadman. We could either skip, which seems like a miss, or we could all play Deadman today, or we could have Tiki just record. And then it was like, what if we all just play Deadman on Sunday, the day we should have recorded, and then record the next day? So we got the best of both worlds. We have a joint episode and an episode with experience in DMM. So W's across the board. I'm also a little sick. Please, for the love of God, somebody else start talking. How are you guys? How's Deadman mode going for you guys?
Tiki, how's it going for you?
It's fine. I'm trying to get both the cosmetics. So trying to get 24k points. Just over halfway there and stalling out pretty hard, waiting for them to fix the points for the breach so that, more people actually get those points. And hopefully we'll be out of here soon.
Here.
It's kind of how I feel, but I'm not even close to halfway there. And I'm not playing Deadman mode currently. So I guess we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm doing okay, though. Doing just fine. It's finally warming up here in Texas, which is nice. By warming up, I mean it's still like in the 40s, but it's better than freezing.
Warming up here too. We're nearing 20, 25.
I was gonna say we're pretty.
Ooh.
Right now we're pretty balmy. It's 20 on the dot. So I'm thinking about a beach day tomorrow.
Actually, I lied. It's 60 degrees right now. So yeah, it's definitely warming up. And the forecast is looking hot. High of 74 next week.
Wow.
So it's going to be quite nice back in Texas. No more snow, no more ice. We're good.
It snowed all day today by me. So,
but that's like normal for you though.
Yeah, it is. It'd be alarming if it was 70 degrees. I'd be like, somebody call the cops.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really normal for Texas to be this warm, but I've just accepted the fact that the weather is unpredictable and there's no normal now. So it's going to be, I mean, on Valentine's Day, it's going to be like 75 degrees.
Oh my
and
God,
sunny.
we really can have a beach day for Valentine's Day. Hell yeah.
The low is 60, so it's not even going to be that cold. I'm excited. I'm going to get back to cleaning pools and not freezing my ass off, which will be nice. I had to wear like thick rubber gloves when I did it last Friday because the water was just like ice cold. My hands were stinging really bad, even just holding the pole, because the pole gets wet, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be nice to go back to not having to do that. And I can wear shorts again. So, Oxie, other than being sick, you streamed for the first time in months.
Yeah, I did a little Deadman mode last night. Got to my 2,000 points for the Eternal Belief, which W finally got the Eternal Belief, which was super helpful. And then did breaches, got a bunch of loot, lost all of it by the time the breach was over. So we went from having a ton of shit to having literally nothing coming out of the breach, which was a ton of fun. But we completed a bunch of quests, got up to the next combat bracket. So we're rocking it here in DMM. It's what I did yesterday. Played a little bit on Friday. I've been a busy woman, unsurprisingly. We're getting into the busy season. If you're hearing this the day the episode comes out, I will be at tournaments for effectively the rest of the month. Like every weekend, I think is a different tournament for something, at least for the foreseeable future. So I've been busy.
All for fencing?
Predominantly, yes. Predominantly for
Nice.
fencing.
Yeah, the stream was fun. So the last time I talked to you last night, you were doing some barrows. After I went to bed, did you continue to do some barrows?
I did a single barrows run.
Okay.
That's Warden. I did a single barrows run and then immediately went off to start Perilous Moons, and then was like, oh, I'll go to the Revenants. That's a great idea because I have immunity and I can make money. And then turns out you cannot make that much money at Revenants whilst under immunity because you're still kind of getting your shit kicked in. So other than that, I died to NPCs during my immunity like twice, which is always super fucking embarrassing. Yeah, super embarrassing. But that was the Strimbo last night.
Strimbo.
So I had fun with it.
Yeah, and if you're not in the TNL Discord, you may not know, but Oxie's thinking about doing this on the reg, which will be interesting. And
It's
maybe
possible.
Michael will too.
It's possible. We'll see how the
You never
schedule
know.
plays out. It's possible.
Oh yeah, because you literally just talked about how busy you are. So
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out schedule wise, but you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe Michael will bring back the streams. Who knows? But the goal is to get more recognized for RuneFest mainly. Get them damn creator wristbands.
we gotta have them.
I believe.
At least somebody believes in us, you know? Tiki, thank you.
That's
Thank you for
why
being here and believing
Tiki's
in us.
here, honestly.
What I'm here for.
There's not really another reason to have Tiki outside of the belief, you know? Just the unwavering belief of the mug.
The scripts are nice, but it's the belief.
Yeah.
So Tiki, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you found TNL, how you found the podcast, if that whatever came first, and then you're a mod now, so obviously you had to do something good. Give us a little snippet of that journey, just for the people who may not know you. We know you obviously, but this is for the listeners who may not know
Mhm.
you.
So back, I think it was during the pandemic, looking for podcasts, as I think most people were, just to keep voices at bay.
Mhm. Keep the voices at bay, brother.
Keep the voices at bay. And so was just looking around for some RuneScape podcasts. I truly, I joined at a questionable time. That was the fruit era.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
I think one of my first episodes was the fruit era. And then
Oh,
I
hell
was
yeah.
like, what am I listening to? And left for a little bit.
Oh,
Really?
I'm so sorry. Oh, that's awful.
Did you literally? Because you were so like,
I was
did I confuse you?
I was
with the
just like,
fruit?
it was the tail end. Like, I think it was around the time you were talking about putting it in epoxy. And I was just like, I don't know if this needs to happen. I was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so, but eventually, like, because I do a lot of my watching or listening on YouTube, you all just kind of kept coming back into my thing. And so, also at the time, I was in a clan that I was looking to leave, just not a good social match. And so I joined
because
TNL.
ain't nobody do it better than TNL, baby.
True. I joined TNL right before like there was actually any restrictions on people joining. So like I just hopped in the chat and was talking for a little bit, and then said like, "Can I join?" And it was like, "Yep." Got in 2 minutes, no waiting the full month or two, which is great. Then I joined, and soon after, the progression to mod was mainly just I was on Oxie's bingo team, and he was talking about how long it was taking him to do just manual tasks relating to like adding rules to bingo and those sorts of things. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I'm not a developer by trade, but I do Like I have some of that as scripting in my background.
Mhm.
So I convinced Oxie and the other mods to basically give me admin perms where they had not known me for more than 6 months. It's kind of questionable on their behalf, but I think I just befuddled Oxie with the magic that was the
Coding.
scripting, and so it quickly turned into me setting up every bingo in its entirety rather than just adding roles, but creating the channels and the VCs and all those sorts of things. And yeah, so then I just started helping around, and eventually, after TMD stepped down, they were looking for a third, and here I am.
Looking for a third, saw your vibe from across the clan and thought, hey, you're pretty chill. So we hit him up,
I think that was the initial joke.
Create a thruple, if you will. Well, we appreciate you. I just want to get that out of the way from the top. I think that life works in extremely mysterious ways. And the fact that, number one, you were just there, but the fact that you were there when Oxie was complaining, that doesn't always happen. So thank you for complaining, Oxie.
I was gonna say it's rare that people aren't around when Oxie's complaining. I'll tell you that. Oxie's kind of notorious for that. It's kind of Oxie's shtick. So,
and somebody didn't tune you out. I think that's the best thing. Is he's like, you know what, this guy needs help. Let me help him.
It was just pre-bingo, and Oxie was talking about how it was going to take him like 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, there's no world in which you should be manually doing that for 2 to 3 hours.
Well, it's because like we used to like manually go into settings and like create all that shit ourselves. And eventually it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I remember adding the roles to people, missing people, and adding people who weren't in bingo. Good times.
Yeah, I don't miss that at all, actually. So I'm very glad we have people who are smarter than us and better at technology than us around to help. And that applies to everyone on the data team and all the other admins. So we've built quite the little crew around this here podcast.
And for the listeners out there, if you've heard the name Tiki mentioned on the podcast, this is him.
I am that mug.
This is the guy. There is only one Tiki, and he's here with us
Not
today.
true.
So
there's a Tiki tanked in the clan.
No, you say there is a Tiki tanked.
Just people have gotten me and him confused. That's why I want to.
First name Tiki. He doesn't go by first name Tiki.
Okay,
though. You are first name Tiki.
Sure.
Yeah.
What does he go by?
Obviously Tiki tanked. Because I don't know, Oxie.
my favorite interaction that I've had with Tiki since like doing this for a while, Tiki did leave the clan because he said, you know what, I hate Oxie and Michael specifically, I think I'm gonna leave. And then when he left, I didn't realize his alt stayed in the clan. So there was another guy in there called Tiki Drinks who was just being himself about it and harassing me relatively frequently in the clan. And I was like, respectfully, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Like, I get it. I'm the content creator. I'm known. But, like, this guy's talking to me like he actually knows me. Like, he's talking shit for someone who's way too comfortable with this parasocial relationship. It took, like, a year for me to be in VC one day with Tiki Mug. And he was like, Oxie, you realize that's my alt, right? I'm like, shut up. No, it's not. He's like, no, I only left the clan on my main. I didn't leave it on my alt. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. I left that account on red so many times in the CC because I was like, this guy clearly has a better social relationship with me than I do with them because I have no fucking clue what we're trying to talk about here. I have no fucking clue what we're doing.
The reason it never came up was because like all my jabs were like, one-liners that like didn't really warrant a response. I was like, that's fair. I was like, ignoring me there is perfectly fine. Like it was just a side jab. But yeah, it was, at some point you were like, yeah, you left the clan. I was like, I've been in here the whole time.
Well, I'm like, no, you definitely left. And he's like, nah, I'm definitely still in here on my alt. I'm like, uh-oh. Now I look like the asshole because I didn't even know Tiki had an alt that was in a clan.
Also, the name wasn't Tiki Drinks anymore. It was Tiki Osrs, which is my Twitch handle, my YouTube handle, and all those. You should have known. You should have known.
Well, I didn't. So I did.
It's kind of respectful that he didn't want to assume.
I suppose that's fair with the other Tiki in the clan.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys got to fight for dominance. Assert yourself. You guys got to assert dominance over one another.
I think he did.
Is that how that works?
The key next to his name
I
Kind of
guess,
proves it,
yeah.
doesn't
I
it?
guess.
I am in charge.
Oh my god, it's me.
Well, boys, I just want to get this out of the way for you both. I am very whelmed by Dead Man mode, and it's going to be like pulling teeth to get me to play. I'm not enjoying it. So I may actually just go for the 12k points, see how we do, and pray to Guthix that we can get the 12k, because
Mm-hmm.
I may just have to wait for another season to get the Wilderness House recolor thing. Because to me, that's not as important as my Bofa looking exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
But like, nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm very whelmed.
I would like
Very,
to
very whelmed.
describe what I saw earlier today in the CC.
Go for it. Go for it.
It sounds wonderful.
I'm sitting there AFKing at work, and I see Michael get a collection. Podcasters gets a collection log of an Ethereum bracelet. Podcasters has been PK'd by so-and-so for 126k. Podcaster says, I hate this game. And then Podcasters logs out. And then about an hour later, I see Podcasters get a PB on a Raxor in the main game.
He said, good heavens, would you look at the time? I'm not putting up with this shit no more.
That is a very accurate retelling of the events, because yeah, I played a little bit today. I made 100k by making and selling iron bars. Funny enough, they're like really good margins at the time. So I bought iron ore for 5 GP, and then I was turning around selling the bars for like almost 500. So really good margins, and I made 100k. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Revs now and just like have some fun and see if I can get a Rev weapon. And then instantly I logged in, killed one imp.
That's your first mistake, brother. Is going to Revenant Caves and hoping that works out for you.
There
Is
just
your
so happened to be
first
a
mistake right there.
there was a death bot right at the entrance, and he didn't say, like, he didn't look threatening, so I wasn't scared. And maybe that was my mistake, because he didn't have a player killer skull, which I don't think is that a thing. Do you get player killer skulls?
It just highlights the
in
eyes yellow instead of black.
See, I wasn't paying attention. I should have known this man was killing other people, because I thought, hey, he's got like a different color skull over his head than me. He's
Mhm.
probably been killing revs. He's probably got money. He's got risk. No. He's been killing people
Mhm.
and taking their loot. And so I died with my air staff and like 200 death runes, and then the 100k that I just made, because you have to pay 100k to get in there. And so all that work for nothing. I mean, I did play the game. Like, I did Doric's quest, and then I did Knight's Sword, and those were kind of fun, reliving those early game quests again, but with like massively boosted XP.
Mhm.
And then I promptly died. So, and I think that, like, if I had to quantify why I'm feeling just whelmed by Dead Man, is because
You
they
experienced
have
Dead Man?
no, it's deeper than that. Because I know you guys are. I don't know what y'all's experience, but like, at least you're doing it. You're still
Yeah.
playing as we speak. I'm not. I'm crafting unpowered orbs in the main game. But like, to me, the fun thing about Dead Man was the fact that you could like risk your bank. Like,
Mhm.
you bank keys were a thing. Like, you go out, you could kill people and get everything they had in their bank, or the most valuable things in their bank. And you never know what people were risking, right?
Mhm.
So then the incentive for me, the casual player, non-PKer, to go and actually kill people was a little bit higher, right? But now you can see everybody's risk over their head. And if they've got like the maroon skull with like barely any coins, it's probably a huge waste of your time to try and kill them. But then the people who are risking things, the people who have a bunch of money on them, or hey, they have good gear, they're the people who are going to kill you. So then I feel like the fun of the actual PKing aspect was kind of taken away by the fact that you don't lose your bank. It's a weird catch 22, because it does kind of suck to lose your bank, right? You're playing a
Mhm.
game, things in your bank, you think they're safe, but they're not. But on the other hand, it's a bit more. I thought the last season was a lot of fun because you could just go kill people and like even if they didn't have shit on them, you still got stuff and you were able to build wealth that way and maybe you got a really good score because somebody had a lot of money in their bank and they weren't carrying it around, but they didn't put it in their deposit box either. So to me, the PKing aspect is not fun. So then it just feels like the main game where I'm being hunted for wanting to play this game the way I
Mhm.
like to play the game. And like you don't run around with any risk because you're going to be exposed. And even if I did try and gear up, now I'm a target because everything I have on me is at risk.
Yeah.
And I mean I don't like last Deadman mode, I was fighting other people who were pretty shitty at PKing. Like I remember going around just like, hey, you're skilling, you're dead. And I don't know. It's kind of, I'm whelmed. I'm not underwhelmed, just whelmed. Also, the point system is very lackluster to me. The fact that like in leagues as a comparison, there are fun and interesting tasks. For instance, in the early game, a very easy task is like cut the tree in the potato field. That's a task. Kill the lesser demon. That's a task. In Deadman mode, it's literally just do the early game. Levels, quests, diaries. Boring ass shit that I don't really care to do again on a temporary game mode. It's like if they took the PKing aspect out of it, this is just early game but boosted and you're doing all the same shit that you do on a new account for no like you don't get to keep any of that progress.
I
Yes, you
mean,
get points for like killing things. Yes, you get points for the breaches, but even then at my combat level and my bracket, I got like maybe 30 points at my first breach. So again, it may just be that I'm whelmed, or it may just be that I need to play some more. Who knows? Maybe next week when we record, I'll have a different story of like, guys, I was totally wrong. And I'm ready to eat my words. I'm ready to like totally be wrong, but I don't think I
I don't
am.
think you will.
I don't think I am.
I'm basically like I'm over the game mode. I do enjoy like the initial rush. Breaches are super cool. I hate PvP and anything associated with it.
mhm.
I'm here for the weapon transmogs. That's about it. But yeah, like to your point, like it is just like the rest of the game. They're trying to incentivize people to come and like try to learn to PK by making it more beginner friendly. But the risk associated is just that because they don't actually incentivize PvPing at all, there's no reason to PvP, which just means they took the same dynamic that's in the wilderness and moved it down to the rest of the game, which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
It's like
Breach
it'd be like
is
playing on a
super
PvP
cool.
world.
Yeah, it is. Just, I mean, that is effectively what it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
With boosted XP.
Yep. And so the issue is their formula seems to be very close to working, but it's just not there. Like it's like they have good enough rewards that there's so many non PvPers hanging out and playing.
But it also
Like,
shows that there are non-PvPers,
well,
right? Like,
that's what I was getting to. It's like there's so many people who like have accidentally attacked me and then apologized. There's so many people that like people were PKing at the farming guild and I started booing the PKers and then other people joined in and like started jumping on them for actually PKing people in a non-safe area. Like it, there's so
mhm.
many non-PKers out here that it just feels like a weird version of the main game where there's just some people running around terrorizing for some reason.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel great all the time. I mean, the dopamine is cool. The point systems is cool. I think the way they're doing sigils this time, it makes it a lot of fun to want to continue to play Deadman mode. Like they're doing a good job of keeping me like sucked in. They're doing a very good job of making me want to continue to log in and engage with the game how they want me to, right? Like play the breaches, unlock all the sigils. But the problem is PvP just feels bad
Yeah.
because this just feels like a PvP world. while I get it, I'm not gonna complain about PvP in a PvP game mode. Like, we did a breach last night. I had gotten Rangers tunics, which were decently expensive. They weren't, but they showed as decently expensive. And then I got a shit ton of loot yesterday, like a ton of shit dropped for me during the breach. I was actually lighting them up with my bone crossbow. And before I could get back to a bank, somebody jumped on me. And of course, I was out of food because I was at a breach and I got killed and lost however many million GP, which, like,
I think it was like 2 mil.
yeah, I didn't even see it in the clan when it procced. I'm like, whatever. It's the way I feel about the wilderness, where like the money isn't real till it gets back to the bank. And they're really gonna struggle to make dead man mode feel satisfying and fun for everybody. And they're getting close. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think they're definitely getting close with all of these cool, like the attunable relics. I don't know about you guys. I've not even looked at the attunable relics.
Nope.
Because
I mean, I tuned 3 of them and then left them in my
yeah,
bank.
I've got
haven't thought about
menacing
them again.
mage, meticulous mage, and consistency, and that's it. Because everything else, just, I don't know. I'm not going to use it in the final. I'm probably not even going to play the finals. Like, who fucking cares? You know?
Okay.
Because PvP just sucks. It's not that PvP sucks. It's that there's no way to guarantee who you're going up against. Like, it's one thing for me to fight Michael or Tiki. We're all casual players. We don't PvP very seriously. Yeah, we've got, some wins in LMS, but that's not a PvPer. That's just someone who had to play LMS for bingo year after year after year, right? I run into Michael or Tiki trying to kill me. If I have gear on me, maybe I have a chance to fight back. But sometimes it's like getting PK'd with while doing a clue scroll. You're like, brother, fuck you. But then I could gear up and put everything in my inventory. And the problem with RuneScape PvP, you run into fucking skill specs. You run into Torvesta. You run into anybody who's been PKing since they were a child, basically, and is now grown in their late 20s, early 30s, and has refined this system to be able to do like a AGS Gmall. I don't know how to survive that. I know how to Tiki, but not 150 damage. And that's the problem with RuneScape PvP. It's really hard to get into.
It's why I think like what they're trying to do, like they're close, but they need to incentivize PKing, like giving everybody all 3 starter weapons. So it's like, and all 3 only need like 1 slot, right? Like you don't need ammo for the bow, you don't need runes for the staff. It's like you have a tribrid set up almost out the gate, and then they like send everybody into the void. But the issue is, since they don't incentivize PKing, it's almost always easier to just die, teleport back, and continue doing whatever the hell you were doing.
And you can't use the tribrid staves on other players.
Really?
Yeah, the starter stuff you can't use against people.
Well, then I take it back. They need to fix that.
But do they? I think that's the issue. It's like they want people to play, right?
They want people to PK, though.
No, I think they want people to play. Because I think Jagex makes more money if there are more people playing the game versus people learning how to PK.
I think that the point of this game mode is to try to bring casual people into the PKing space.
I don't disagree. That is the intended point. I think the way it's executed is rarely what's ever seen. Does that make sense? Like, I very frequently feel that, the intention is there, but it seems like with how they're crafting the rewards and the point systems and the sigils, they don't give a fuck if people learn how to PK. They want people to play. They want to activate the RuneScape brain and go, oh yeah, number go up. Cosmetic good. Collection log equal points. Numbers go up. Good. And they want to keep people playing dead mode. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, there's probably a good case to be made of why they want to keep people PKing. And I'm all for that. I think the reality is that the game mode like this doesn't incentivize that. And I don't know if it ever will. And the way they're pushing it doesn't seem like they care. Let me back up. Not that they don't care about dead man mode. The people who designed this game mode very clearly are passionate about RuneScape and temporary game modes and PvP to an extent.
I kind of agree with both of you in the sense that like Deadman mode is for PKers and people who want to engage in PvP. But then they're doing a lot of things like Oxie said where you're giving rewards that are very, very appealing to the player base at whole. It would be different if, like in Bounty Hunter, the cosmetics were related to things that you use in PKing. I'm not saying you don't use a BOFA when you PK, but very rarely do you see people using a BOFA while you PK.
Max mains do, and it is fucking scary.
So, I mean, the house recolor, the home teleport, the BOFA. Like last year, we had a blowpipe. We had
It was leagues.
Rejuvenate. Was
No.
it leagues? What
Last
were we getting in
year
Deadman?
was
I guess it was the Void Waker.
Dark Bow, AGS, Nightmare Staff, Void Waker.
And then
Well, then,
the
yeah,
imbued, what's it called? The
God Cape.
imbued God Cape, yeah. Brain.
I guess last year was more PK centered items then. This year, not so much.
Well, this year
But-
it's 50-50. It's the BOFA and then the Toxic Trident or Staff of the Dead. Toxic Staff of the Dead.
I mean, the reality is those are PvP items.
right.
Toxic
That's
Staff of the Dead, Toxic Staff of the Dead obviously is a PvP item, but if you don't see anybody in a BOFA PvPing, that's probably good. Because the only person who I ever see PK with a BOFA is Messiah. And that motherfucker, like, you run into him, oh well.
It's over.
That game
Guess I'll
sucks.
die.
Oklahoma, love the videos. Here's 2 mil, whatever. Like, because when someone rocks out, if you're that confident to bring that kind of risk into a PvP environment, you can hang. And that's just even more risk with the ornament kit, because that's what that allows. That allows for, it's like the ornate maul handle. That was the thing. People were using Gmalls and they added the ornate maul handle to put extra risk on it.
The ornament kits don't work like that though.
Oh, they don't drop to other players?
Ornament kits,
they're permanent,
you
right?
turn them in and it unlocks the ability to go through Nigel to then have Nigel do the transmogs, which
That
in
is
my
quite
opinion
fast.
works great for PvPers because, if you go out and you're PKing with like a dark bow, you don't want to buy that skin every time and likely wouldn't if you are learning. Whereas this just allows you to, if you want to go lose 1 million BOFAs, you can do so in style.
Yeah, I remember because it's when we found out last year that it worked for all weapons, that was pretty hype.
Yeah, that's
So-
the only reason I'm going for them.
It's PvP centric. The rewards, I think the house theme is cool. The teleport animation is fine.
I really liked last year's. This one, I'm not a huge fan of.
It's fine. I'm not offended by it.
It is
Going
what it
back
is.
to the points, it is something that I kind of like and I kind of don't like, but I'll talk about what I like about it. The skull points is an interesting way of unlocking the sigils rather than them just being tradable and buyable from the GE.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since that has had a change up. I think since the start of Deadman mode as a seasonal event, sigils have always been like a drop that you get randomly or something that you can just pay to win and buy from the GE. And now those, I don't think any of them are tradable, correct? Because I tried to sell one on the GE and I was unable to
About
do so.
half the time, I forget that I can use the GE.
That is another thing that
Bro.
is tough. Is I'm not used to using the GE in a temporary game mode.
And
it
I'm
just
not
feels
used to
weird.
using the GE.
You want a
What's that?
funny example of that? I was, how I did the iron into iron bars gimmick? So to start, I was actually mining iron in Remington and I got like 100. I'm like, what am I doing? I can buy this from the GE and just turn it into bars. Turns out the margins are really good. So then I bought 1,000 iron. I'm like, dude, I could have just wasted my whole afternoon mining 1,000 iron to then turn around and make the bars when it's readily available as a very common item.
I'm sprinting towards Briff in Deadman mode because I think it's going to be like a safe haven. The quest lamps are a whole other thing that we should talk about in a minute. But yeah, like I've been sitting there doing farming contracts to get the herbs, to get the 70 herb lore, and it's like no, nobody cares about herbs, and people are selling herbs on the GE for like 30 coins because potions and supply drops are just coming into the game. So it's like
That's
Mhm.
true.
Herblore is just like I think Renars are going for like 300 last I looked. Like it's like it is just stupidly cheap, and it's because people are dumping those, and then I'm over here Iron Manning it up with my Snapegrass and Renar seeds in the farming guild.
Mhm. That's exactly what it feels like, because it's the bounty hunter reward shop that does it. Like I just got a tier 5 emblem from that breach, by the way, which we'll also touch on because the breaches are
I
without
missed
question
the
the best
drop.
part.
I got a tier 5 emblem, didn't notice I got a tier 5 emblem, and missed the drop.
Game sucks, dude. So now I'm sitting on 2.5 million archaic points. Brews are 75k. Super combats are 75k. Prayer potions are 15k. Restores are 50k. Like when you got millions and millions of points from doing these breaches, you'll have a shit ton of supplies.
Yeah.
So that helps immensely. And it also means that buying supplies in the GE is also fairly cheap. Except around the time of breaches. We noticed yesterday that things like blood runes spike up a lot around the time of breaches.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you guys are pretty whelmed as well. I thought I was going to be alone in this thought.
I don't know if I would say whelmed, more so it's kind of exactly what I expect from a PvP everywhere minigame. Minigame PvP everywhere game mode. I get it. I'm not surprised. I'm not upset when I die, Yeah, it's obviously frustrating to die, but this is what Deadman is, and I think they have done a really good job this year. I'm not even gonna lie, of making death feel better. I have
Mhm.
not really hit a rage quit point upon death because I got killed running to do a clue scroll, and now all of my supplies are gone. Like no bank keys feels a lot better, I will say.
I will say also that like I agree. Like I think I'm more in Oxie's camp than Michael's camp with like the whelmed. But it is exactly what I expect. However, I will give them that forcing all of the PVMers into the PvP game mode for the rewards. I have found so many great interactions where it's like there's a bunch of people who just have no interest in PKing and are all also here just for the points. Like I was getting PK'd woodcutting the yew trees, and this guy was attacking me, and I just was like, "Hey man, can I just trade you the logs? I don't want to run back here." And he stopped attacking me and goes, "Sure, like that's fine." So I trade him, put up, I think I had like 750 logs or something, and he goes, "Nah, man, that's too much. Give me like 100." So I gave him 100. He gave me 4 sharks to get my health back up to normal, and he left.
Oh my gosh.
And there's just
That's
like
hilarious.
there's just a whole bunch of that shit because once again it's just like you have the PVMers who want nothing to do with this entire game mode, who are all here because they want the rewards because they did a good job of designing rewards, and so like I've been enjoying myself because of the PVM community seems to be outweighing the PvP community in the PvP game mode, and it's just very entertaining to me.
Is that healthy for Deadman mode long term?
I mean,
I was just about to ask that. I don't think it is.
I don't know if it's I think if you can incentivize PKing where you can get the PVMers to PK, I think it is healthy because the PvP community in general is toxic enough that we need to balance it out a bit with less toxic of a player base. Not all PvPers, but there's a good chunk
Tiki's
of them
going
that
for
are
the
just
throat today. God damn.
But I mean, I don't think that that's a secret. I don't think that that's a controversial opinion. I like, a lot of the PvP community is fairly toxic, and so I think that the balance of like the PVMers who are here for the rewards, but not inherently wanting to run around and be malicious. Like I saw, like yesterday, I was attacked. I think 4 times in a row by somebody who knew I clearly didn't have anything, and he just kept telling me to go restock. Like he stole my box traps after taking my chins to make sure I would have to bring out new box traps, and he got nothing else but killed me 3 times in a row. Like it was like he was doing that for no reason than just to PK me. And so it like I don't know. There's just a lot of that around. And it's like I said, I think it's a people can run around and do that kind of stuff if that's what they enjoy, but there's some people who just do it with malice, and I don't understand that.
That's the issue with incentivizing PvP is you incentivize PvP too much, and then all of a sudden, everyone's being a fucking asshole, you know?
I mean, and that's where it's like a hard balance.
That's the reason we only did one wilderness bingo. Because it not that it PKing specifically, but just like the incentive is incentivizing PKing can bring out the worst in people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Constant ragging. Nobody likes it, but some people weirdly get enjoyment from it. Like I'll rag bots all day. I don't care because they're not real. But I don't think besides that one time that we had a PKing event where we did it with the patrons, I don't think I would like to go and just rag real people trying to play this game and enjoy it. Even if you are in the wilderness, you know what I mean? Because I don't enjoy being ragged and I don't enjoy the aspect of like being hunted and being prey versus the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's kind of what it feels like when most of the community in DMM, I would say, is, as you both have described, just regular players wanting to get it over with. It doesn't feel like we're all on level ground when you have death bots out there and people who are hell bent on just ragging people.
Yeah, I think PvP is a very interesting thing when you have multiple people who are interested in PvP doing PvP.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
where they're incentivizing for both the wilderness and this game mode of bringing in people who have no interest in PvP and don't incentivize PvP. So another aspect is in the main game, like Irons, there's no reason for me to try to anti-PK because I can't get anything. Worst case, either way, my trip at whatever boss I'm doing is done. Right? Like if I use all my supplies anti-PKing, I get a key that's worth nothing. Maybe I can drop it to the main and it be worth a little something. But like either way, my trip's done. So it just incentivizes me to bring nothing I would not care to replace and move on with my day. And so it's like I think LMS is a blast. I have when I go in there with the intent to fight and I'm against other people with the intent to fight, I think like that's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Same.
just mainly when you're pushing people who don't want to fight into areas with people who do want to fight, like that's the issue. And that's where it's like I think if you could incentivize, especially in Deadman mode, PKing a bit more, it would lead to a bit more interest in at least that translating to the live game a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, also like I'm once again pretty anti-PKing as obviously I'm describing it, but for what it's worth, I always vote yes to PvP pulls. You know, I think it's a valid game mode. I think people can play that in a specific way, but I just don't enjoy it.
Oxie, he just said he voted yes to Wrath Maw.
Not everyone can have a right opinion all the time.
I did vote yes to
haven't yet.
Athma, and you want to know something?
No, I don't. But you can say it.
So you all know how the breaches are locked at 16 people per mob for like the points? Like people think that that's currently broken. The only reason that cold fix might come into place, Mod Goblin posted this himself, that is because they prototyped the 100 player limit for Wrathmaw. If they didn't have prototype code from trying to create Wrathmaw, or if they would have created Wrathmaw, the 100 player cap might have been in place from the beginning. Wrathmaw would have been good here. It would have helped.
I have some comparisons in my head, but none of them are podcast appropriate, so it's stupid. Wrathmaw still bad. I told that to Mod Mank to his face, by the way.
He did. Stand on business.
Wrathmaw code would have saved us. It would have given us full 100 players. 100 player cap. They don't know if it's possible, but the prototype code could work.
So I want to kind of shift our focus a little bit because we've been talking for a while, been largely negative towards this game mode. And not that that's a bad thing, but I do want to shift our focus into what do you guys think could improve Deadman, and what could they do to incentivize PKing in a way that feels good for other people?
Move PvP.
I have an answer.
Game's
If you guys
too
want to hear my
easy.
answer, and maybe we can, riff off of it. I think an easy way to incentivize PKing in PvP in Deadman specifically would be that you can only attack people if you are within a certain risk threshold as them. So if you wanted to go out and kill people and make money, you also have to risk money. And that kind of solves the ragging problem to a certain extent, because if you're going out there and you're risking 200 death runes and a fire staff, like you can get kills doing that. Maybe you bring runes for snares and like a really powerful spell. You're not risking that much. So then the reward is not going to be that much. But yeah, if you could somehow make it to where if you want to kill people and make good money, you yourself have to be risking that money. And you can only attack other people who are also risking that much money. Because that's how they kind of do it. Not really, but there's an unspoken rule, I would assume, in PvP worlds. Like if you watch GE PKing, there's a general understanding like, hey, we're fighting each other. We're going to wear the same gear. If we're doing risk fights, we have money in our inventory. There's a handshake there. Be like, hey, we're on level playing field. One of us is not way over geared. There's not a huge advantage. You could bring that into this game mode.
Yeah, it's possible. I think that does happen on occasion when you look at like, GE PvP. My only concern I would have with that is I'll just sit in the lowest wealth bracket. Because like now I'm not even incentivized to get good gear. Because if I have 200k worth of gear to do a Slayer task, and somebody in the 100k to 1 mil bracket rolls up with a fucking Vesta's longsword or abyssal whip or something and just starts terrorizing me on my Slayer task, like, that feels real bad. So I don't mind it. I don't think it's a terrible system. I fear because it's so easy to manipulate, we'll see less PvP overall, which is counterintuitive, unfortunately, to a PvP based game mode.
I think that they could just do basically the breach system with PKing. Like PvP damage, 2 players caps out a certain amount. Maybe you write a limit of like it can't be the last like 10 people that you've PK'd. So it's like it's harder at least to be abused. Everything is going to be abused, but it would at least be harder to be abused. And then you just do like, because even that incentivizes like attacking retaliation rather than like people just like rolling over and dying. Like if you can get people to, if you get like 5 points for, turning around and hitting with a bone crossbow when they're barraging you, like people are still going to be a bit more incentivized. I think it would still need the cap of the breach. I think like you would need like the daily limit and some guards around like PKing your friends or PKing like a large group of people. But I think that even that, like, I mean, we're all here for number go up. If you can find a way to make the core number of the game go up from PKing, I think that that's enough to be a win.
The only problem with that is there is a monetary value attached to points. So then what's to stop people from making like 100 alts?
Well,
and just
that's what I'm
outright
saying.
abusing
It
it
will
and-
be abused. The question is like, how easy can you how can you turn it so it's not easy? Like if you make 100 alts and everybody's at 50 HP, it's like, yeah, you might get 500 points, but if the daily cap for PvP damage is set at a certain amount, it's going to be far harder to like justify keeping your bots active for 3 to 4 weeks. I think that's 2 or 3 bonds per bot that like you're barely getting enough points for it to be worthwhile, because it's like if you cap it 5k like the breaches do, like you're still looking at 3 to 4 days of that running, and it like while it's feasible, I don't think it'd be terribly beneficial.
Yeah, but that's on each account. So if you had 100 accounts, they all PK each other. Each account gets 5k points every single day. You're walking away with
Right.
you know
Well, and
100 of those
Theoretically,
Bofa
the
recolors
same
by the
thing
end of the
applies
map.
to the breach, though.
the game, it applies
It's
to the
true.
game as a whole. Like that's where it's like every system can be manipulated in that way.
True. It would be a lot. I think that's why they don't do it. I think that's why you don't get points for killing people, is because there's just like in Jagex's mind, if it can be abused, they're going to avoid it. You can't really abuse breaches because it's a set time, it's pretty RNG based, and you can only get a certain amount of points.
I think you could set it up similarly, and then like if you have people monitoring for those bot farms, it's like that should become fairly apparent. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I think there's several ways around that where it's far less of a concern.
Yeah.
But like I said, like without the like there, you genuinely in this game mode gain no, like we would all be better off, I think, at the moment if just nobody PK'd. Like we'd get the points for doing the bosses, we'd get the gear, we'd set up the GE, like, and we all just ran. Like it, there's no difference in the game if you PvP versus don't PvP, and that's where I think that the miss is.
Yeah, because now it's just PvP that just feels bad.
It's like, what's the point? Because then all the resources, all the time and effort could go into making a better league, or they could have 2 leagues per year. If we didn't have
Well,
Deadman mode, what else could the devs be doing with their time?
I'm never a fan of that argument.
Yeah.
TBH, I'm never a fan of that argument. I think it's very, I don't know how to word it. It seems like a shallow bad faith argument.
I think that they need to figure it out.
Like they're not far off from a good event. The trouble is they just have to execute it properly. Right? They're not far off from a good event. I think Tiki and you aren't entirely off base with like how do you get people to PvP each other? And is it worth it to have a system where PvP damage allows points, perhaps depending on your bracket? Maybe you don't earn PvP points in the lower brackets. Maybe you don't earn PvP points until you hit. Maybe you don't earn PvP points against certain combat levels and until you hit level 45, for example, you don't earn PvP points. And you don't get PvP points for fighting other players, right? So now if you're getting PK'd, you know that it's just because people want to be assholes or they're doing it on accident. You know?
Yeah. You could mix the two. You could mix the two where you only get points if you're within that risk threshold. Because that would also incentivize people actually risking versus like the reward if you're fighting somebody is you get their gear. Well, now if you are fighting somebody who you are matched with in your risk threshold,
The risk
then you get
threshold
points.
is iffy. With how short the game mode is, it's hard to really peg down risk. Because like the GE values fluctuate so much, so then if it's going off of in-game value, like the Deadman mode cost for a Cerebrew is so much less than a live game cost for a Cerebrew. And
Yeah, my
so
Ranger's tunic I got last night, it's like 1.5 mil main game, 25k dead man mode.
right, and so it's like that risk level, like because I've been trying to figure it out. For all 3 raids, you have to risk 800k to go into that region, and so I've been trying to figure out like I don't think I have 800k to my name. Like I don't think if I can pack up everything in my bank, I don't think I can make it into a raid area. But there's also a chance that I do have that with like maybe the cost of death runes are 5 times as much as they are in the main game. And so that's where it's like, I think for that, because at the moment, a lot of people are relying on the wiki for GE prices for Deadman mode. Like they need to figure out like a good way for us to see the risk value and where that's being calculated so that like for something like that to occur. I don't think that that's necessarily like, I don't know if that's the solution, but if that was the solution, it's missing that kind of like the risk information is just not there.
Yeah, because they're calculating risk somehow.
Right.
The skulls change color, but I guess what you're saying is we don't know where the values are coming from because everything is so skewed. Like an iron bar is worth 400 GP. Is an iron bar worth 400 GP in the main game? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah, because a lot of
Iron
things
bars are
are
171 in the main game. at the moment.
Okay.
I think a good way to incentivize PvP in these mini games, it's weird. It's like, how do you force players into LMS? Like, that's what it feels like, you know? Because when you force players into a situation where you have to fight for your life, then people are going to get into it. And people are going to fight back. And people are going to say, oh, I killed that guy. He sucked. I killed him by accident. That's kind of fun. Now what happens if I bring range and mage and he can't run away from me? You know how exhilarating is your first time when you bolt rag somebody in the wilderness and they get away because they barely make the 30 line? And you're like, oh, next time I'm bringing freezes. Next time I'm bringing TBs and you're not going anywhere. You know? It's an exhilarating feeling when you're put into that situation, especially when it's someone who's trying to kill you. So how do you bring that into DMM? How do you force people to play LMS? But like the problem with most PvP mini games outside of LMS and Bounty Hunter, people get annoyed when you PK. Michael, we have the same conversation every single year with what mini game? Oh, you know it. What is it?
Is it LMS?
Nope.
No, it's Soul Wars.
In what game mode specifically?
Soul Wars
In leagues.
in
Soul
Leagues,
Wars
yeah.
in leagues. Every year we have a debate back and forth about whether or not killing people is acceptable. People aren't there to be killed. They're there to earn points, get combat XP, and fuck off. But you're a demigod, and you kind of want to kill people because it's fun. But now you look like the asshole, right? I think maybe some combination of both. Like,
What if they threw the only way for you to level up your combats is through PvP?
Yeah, but then you just have your friend, like you just box your friend all day in the like I like where you had
Like
that though.
the issue, right, is like we're talking about trying to find some way to incentivize it that has to be abnormal or too painful to do in a different way. Like you said, how do you force people into LMS? Like my first thought is LMS is the easiest way to get a rune pouch. And it's like, yeah, you could go send a shitload of Slayer, but that's going to take way more time than getting 75 points through LMS. So it's like, what can you do to make PvP the best alternative? And if that's the only way to get combat XP, like, yeah, you might have yourself boxing people, but it's the same way that you can, barrage a bunch of people or do multi-attack or those sorts of things. Like that's going to be far more interesting of a grinding to the levels.
You could, but I'm picturing like it's day one in Lumbridge. You've just unlocked Fire Strike with your boosted XP, and you can't get more than 100 XP per person because you're just one banging everybody. Because the immunity ran out, and all of these poor souls are just getting fucked up coming out of Lumbridge because somebody got lucky and got level 13 magic early. And now they're just grinding their magic level because what are you going to do? Fight back? You can't even get close enough to them to fight back. It's just, I think it's got to be something weird.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe if they did, is it like called like 7 days to die? Is that the game mode? Or like on the 7th day, like a bunch of zombies show up?
Yeah.
Maybe it's something along the lines of every kind of like a breach timer, right? Where every set amount of time, or maybe randomly, who knows, 3 times a day, it's all PvP everywhere. There are no safe zones. Time to fight for your life for the next 30 minutes. The easy solution is people are just going to fucking log out, Like,
you could give people boosted XP. You could give people drops that normally come from monsters, but they're coming from people. The whole issue with Deadman mode as a whole, when it comes to incentivization, is it has main game consequences outside of the rewards, because you can't just give people bills worth of cash. Or like, I was even thinking maybe in a starter pack, instead of the starter weapons, they gave everybody like all 4 elemental staves and 1,000 of each rune. But that's going to get abused, and people are, I mean, if everybody gets them, I guess it wouldn't be as abused, but
how is it going to be abused?
That's just going to get dumped and sold. But like, you have swapping.
It won't be, they won't be dumped and sold because you flood the market with it, and then it like, because
That's
it's
true.
a new market, Like, that's exactly what I was saying earlier, where it's like Ceradoman
That's
brews
true.
cost absolutely nothing because of how fluctuated the market is. Like, I'm sure if you looked up the cost of a tuna in Deadman mode, where you get 10 every time you get PK'd, I'm sure those cost a penny, you know?
They're
Fun
actually
fact.
different
They're
items.
different items. Yeah.
I noticed that they didn't stack in the bank, but I mean, I was
Yeah.
just trying to call out a
As an
point
example.
there
Yeah, as an example.
is if you gave people those starter items, it's like, yeah, the first 4 hours people might be dumping them, but as soon as people dump them enough, they're worthless.
That could be a good way to get people to PK then, because the most annoying thing for me when it comes to engaging in PvP is the fact that like I have to spend my money to go buy the supplies to then lose it, when if I died, I could just respawn, collect a starter pack, and it has all of the gear that I would need to get back into the fight. And maybe it's shit gear and you work your way up to build a better arsenal, but like at least the starter shit you get
Well, that's what I was saying earlier with
is
the
good.
starter weapons. You should be able to PK people with the starter
You
weapons.
should.
Like
Yeah,
that's
you
what I was
should.
saying is you got to incentivize people that it's like, okay, you can die, you can PK and die, and it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah. To answer your question, Oxie, I think the reason people are incentivized to play LMS versus like go out in the wilderness and just duke it out is because everybody's on an even playing field and there's absolutely zero risk. You get 99 stats unless they change the build, but like everybody's build is the same. Everybody starts with the same stuff. You have the opportunity to unlock chests to get better things, but like if you lose an AGS and you die in LMS and you lose your AGS, you don't lose an AGS. There's no risk. So it's like, of course, people are going to do that because you can go on a fresh account with nothing on it to a certain extent. There are limitations, but once you get past those limitations, it's absolutely free to do LMS. It's the biggest difference between that style of PvP and hunter versus prey in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my idea with if you just give people the starter stuff, unlimited access to things that can help them PK, it kind of brings an element of what LMS is good at and does well into DMM. Because it would kind of take the fun out of it if you just spawned in with a max account and the only thing that you could do was PvP. Because then what are you going to do for points? You've got all the diary requirements to do every single diary. You've got all the requirements to do every single quest. Then it's just kind of boring, you know? You could do the best money makers. You could do all the best things. So starting on a fresh account makes sense, but it's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
Outside of just the PvP aspect, there are a few other things that just as like a general player, I think could be improved upon. I don't know if we're ready to move on to a different topic.
Yeah.
One of the most glaring things, and like I said, I'm sprinting for Song of the Elves, which is where this kind of pops up, but the quest lamps are hilariously expensive and bad. So elf quest line, for those of you not playing, it goes up through roving elves, which means you have to pay, or you're paying for roving elves, and then to get to Prif, you need Morning's End 1, 2, and Song of the Elves. Like, you have to go and complete those. The only Grandmasters that you can pay to complete are Monkey Madness 2 and Dragon Slayer 2, meaning that you have to grind out several quests for While Gothic Sleeps, or you get up through Sins of the Father, or no, the one right before it. You get up through the second to last quest and then have to do Sins of the Father. You have to do
Secrets of the North.
Yeah, you get Secrets of the North and then have to go do Desert Treasure 2. And so there's just a bunch of that where it's like they're trying to incentivize like killing bosses. Like each boss has like the bonus for killing it for the first time. And so you can see all the DT2 bosses on that list, but to go and kill DT2 bosses or go and kill things in Prif, you have to go and do things. So when I decided I wanted to go do Song of the Elves, I bought the elf lamp and then saw that I had to go do Big Chompy Bird Hunting, Sheep Herder, and then start Morning's End 1 and 2. and now I'm leveling up to try to go to get into Prif. And so there's that, and then the other downside is even if you complete those quests to try to get some of those rewards, the lamps don't get cheaper. And to unlock Desert Treasure or Secrets of the North, there's a cheaper lamp that is Majrat 1 and not Majrat 2. And if you buy the Majrat 1 lamp, it doesn't make the Majrat 2 lamp cheaper. So it's like there's no way to make the lamps cheaper. And so if you just save up 5,000 points instead of 1,500 for Majrat 1, you've saved yourself buying a lamp, I would assume.
Oh my gosh.
And so there's just a few of those misses, because I think it was Shattered Relics, maybe? Shattered Relics League, like, you could buy quests, and if you completed quests, it made the purchase of, like, the group cheaper. And so it's like, there's a few of those things that, like, they figured out with leagues that just seem to be missing here. And I don't know if it's just that, like, they want to see people trying to PK in Darkmire or PKing in Tronwyn, because, like, those would be fun places to see people fight. I was running around the Morning's End 2 maze and thinking how, like, you know, like a LMS map or something where you have all these little, like, corners and staircases and whatnot could be interesting there. So it's like maybe that's what they were trying to do, but since most people aren't going for those quests, it just kind of leaves a lot of very empty areas that nobody's going to touch.
It is weird that you could do up to the hardest quest in the unlock, but you're not rewarded for doing that effort. You still have to pay full price. I think it was Rune Guy was asking. He's asked that same question. Like, wait, no, even if I do all of the quests, I still have to pay to unlock the quests?
Yep.
Like, yeah, dude. It sucks.
It's like that could be changed to a massive benefit.
Definitely.
My counterpoint to that is Grandmaster quests often unlock extremely powerful upgrades.
Sure.
Which is why they don't have them all available. Monkey Madness 2 gives some pretty fucked PvP upgrades with the Zenites and the Heavy Ballista, right? And obviously the Dragon Scimitar, depending on your bracket, right? Dragon Slayer 2 kind of gives you a backpack if that's your thing, you know? But DS2 doesn't provide a whole lot of weaponry that I think is worthwhile. But you got to think Song of the Elves, the Blade of Saldor, and Bofa are fucking ridiculous in PvP. Burning Claws are kind of fucking ridiculous in PvP. That's why Wild Gothic Sleeps is unlocked. I've Tiki, you were saying yesterday that Purging Staff is a PvP item.
So I've been told. Once again, don't PvP, but that's what I've been
told. I was gonna say,
yeah.
I've not seen that, but again, I'm also not a PvPer, so I'm not going to take it with a huge grain of salt. Or take that with a huge grain of salt, rather, from me. So, like, Wild Gothic Sleeps, Song of the Elves, Desert Treasure 2, you're talking the Altor ring, the Bellator ring, the Magus ring. Like, these have
Soul
a
Reaper
significant
Axe.
effect. Is Soul Reaper Axe good in PvP?
I assume anything that hits hard is good in PvP.
It could be a KO weapon, but then you've also got, like, Virtus, which is pretty easily attainable. And then it's also bosses that are instanced, right? If I'm good at Duke, I theoretically, with these relics, don't need to leave Duke. Yeah. I can stay there until I get my Virtus. It's a little hyperbolic to think that you're going to get 300 Duke kills. Obviously, that's not going to happen, right? With boosted drop rates and what have you. But I think you get good at some of this content, or you are good at it going in, you probably don't have to worry as much, you know? And it's instanced, and I don't know. I think making you do the Grandmasters, while it objectively feels really fucking bad, it helps balance the PvP aspect. So I don't hate it. I'm not going to do any of the Grandmasters. That's another thing. Whatever, you know?
I agree for the, like, if it's just the Grandmasters, like Secrets of the North makes sense. And the Darkmare story questline, like, that makes sense. But Song of the Elves not getting you all the way up to that quest line where you have to go do Mornings End 1 and 2, it's like that's purely a chore. I don't think you can get up through Wild Gothic Sleep, or like I don't think you can get up to Wild Gothic Sleeps. I think you get some of them from the Majrat quest line. Like we were talking last night, like I still have to, like if I wanted to go do it, I think you got to go do Garden of
Tranquility,
Tranquility.
baby. Woo!
like you got to go do Garden of Tranquility and a bunch of other things before doing Defender of Arok, Curse of Arav, and then while Gothic sleeps. And so it's like I think the lamps, I think quest lamps are good, and I understand them not completing those things, but it's like they did the right thing on 2 of the 5 quest lamps, and that's where it kind of confuses me a bit.
If they wanted to improve the system next year, every quest point should be worth 5 or 10 skull points, because then that really incentivizes questing. Because it, like, we were joking about it last night. While Gothic Sleeps is a fun detour, but it was like Garden of Tranquility, Defender of Varrock, Curse of Arav, While Gothic Sleeps, and all the other random fuck ass prerequisite quests.
It was so funny.
That's like days of questing, even with Quest Helper and Spacebar. You know?
I think we determined that technically you can get Garden of Tranquility done before Dream Mentor, and through if you unlock every quest lamp.
2.
Right, if you do Majorat 2, you are a little bit closer, but there's still 3 or 4 longer quests that you have to do for both of those major quest lines. That is just kind of confusing.
So it's not incentivized, right? Maybe if you were to give quest points a skull point value, and maybe if you were to give Tears of Gothics a point value every week, you get points equivalent to 33% of the tier XP you earn. Not
Careful,
boosted.
Oxie, you're getting close to Rathma there.
Well,
once a week compulsory gameplay. Watch out.
Well, got me there. I was gonna say, well, yeah, something to incentivize quests so it doesn't feel as bad. Yeah. We're talking a lot about incentives without talking about the incentives that are already in the game and already work very well. We touched on sigils a little bit because I think, like I said, sigils turn on RuneScape brain, and that works great. At least it does for me. Breaches, man. Breaches are the best fucking part of the game mode.
Breaches are cool as hell.
By the time this episode comes out, breaches have presumably been fixed, and breaches now award points based on contribution for up to 100 players. So every point of damage should be a point if you're in the top 100 players. So it should be much, much, much easier to earn Deadman points by the time this episode is live. Currently, that is not the case. Other than that little faux pas, and it's not really even a faux pas, it just feels bad, Other than that, breaches fucking rule.
True.
They are so much fun.
Breaches are a lot of fun.
They are so much fun. They are so chaotic. What's the worst part of a breach?
The meatball from Yama.
No, the meatball is hilarious.
The meatball is the best part of the breaches.
Top tier.
Without question, the meatball is the funniest thing that they've added. So Yama will spawn in these breaches. If you have not played, Yama will spawn, and the only thing he will do is drop a meatball on a group of players. He doesn't turn your run off, but he'll drop this huge fire meteor on people, and it will kill swaths of people at a time. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Because the area of effect is a lot larger than what you think it is when you're actually fighting Yama. It's like a 6x6 area. Again, ask me how I know.
The best part, in my opinion, about the meatball is it'll fall, kill a bunch of people, and then in 30 seconds or whatever, all of their shit appears on the ground. And so then everybody swarms to pick up all their shit, and then here comes another meatball. And it's just, it is amazing to watch. It's just, I don't know, the breach we just did at the beginning of this episode, I was sitting there and then 2 Temecan Wardens popped up at the same time. It's just it's just weird shit that is a blast to interact with.
It's so fun, and it's so oh shit, Soul Heritage is here. You can tell who has and hasn't done the content because they don't know where to go and people are getting killed, right? Same thing with the Wardens, same thing with DKs, and Cerberus spawned earlier. I saw Vardorvis and was like, I'm going to shoot you from far away because I don't know what you're I can't dodge a fucking axe out here if that pops up, you know? So they kind of neuter some of the mechanics, but nonetheless, it is so fun. Breaches are so
A
fun.
blast.
Yeah. Again, the worst part of getting breaches is engaging with the PvP part.
Yeah.
You talked about it last night, Tiki. It's got potential.
I would love to see it as like part of a league where like breaches happen in every region and it's only bosses that are not from that region that spawn, and then they have a chance to drop like their normal drops. So it's like you could take regions where you focus on the on your, like, you know, if you take desert, like somehow like Ulm appears or Tecton appears and like has a chance to drop like the Abimal, not Abimal, Elder Maul. And that would like allow you to kind of get gear from outside of specific regions, but it would just be like a chance within those breaches. I think that would be very. I'd love to see like them do that kind of mechanic in like a different place somewhere.
Yeah, especially if they did it where it's like one boss at a time, but they spawn in every region simultaneously. And maybe they just have like a rotation, you know, like let's say, for example, you know, you pick the classic Asgarnio Wilderness Kandarin, the League's 2 classic. And in Mauritania, it's enemies from the desert, or in Kandarin, it's enemies from Tiranwin and Zaya, you know, and they just sort of like have that set rotation of regions. That way you don't have to fight. Like people are, you know, talking in the chat, Earth the Wicked. You the Wicked? I've said that name out loud before, and for the life of me, I'm blanking on it. I'm so sorry. It's late. They mentioned that the bosses die so quickly, it kind of loses some of the fun because Warden dies in 10 seconds. Warden doesn't spawn a core. Warden just dies in 10 seconds. There are a lot of NPCs, particularly the superior Slayer monsters, that will spawn and near instantly drop dead when there's a lot of
Wait,
people.
is the HP not buffed?
It
It
is.
is. You just have, you know, 200 people attacking the same thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter, right? So
Well, they need to buff the HP more. Like give Warden 10,000 HP or something.
it kind of defeats the point of the breach. Like you want to kill it and get the fast loot. I think the way they've got breaches designed are a lot of fun. If you had different region bosses per regions in a league, you could divide up the player base so you're more likely to get a drop that you want, you know? Like we could have a lot of really interesting new meta builds where like actually the best regions to take are, you know, Western provinces, fucking Varlamore and Wilderness, because in addition to all the good shit that they also have bosses from these other regions that really complement your builds well.
I feel like
could be
that
fun.
takes away a little bit of the region locked aspect, because then at that point, why are you locking people out of regions if the bosses are just going to be available everywhere?
That's where it's like, I don't think it should be
But I see
something
your
that's like
point.
consistent. Like, I don't think it's something you should grind out or rely on, but I think it'd be interesting.
Mhm.
It's just like something that like could happen, like something where it's worth going to do, but not necessarily worth planning around.
Maybe in League 6, Yama is spawning demonic versions of bosses in the starter region. Like, let's say our theory of Azaya start is correct. Chasm of Fire, Karen, Castle start, whatever it is. Let's say that's correct. And then every day at certain times in Zaya, Yama's minions emerge from the ground. And it's breach style bossing, but bosses from every region or Slayer monsters from every region spawn in Zaya. They spawn in the start region, which just like in Deadman mode will concentrate a lot of players to one spot, yeah. But will make it so that the region locking is still important. You have to pick regions based around the build you want. And if you happen to be doing a mage build and get lucky and get an accursed scepter from Vedion who spawned at a breach, right? You know, and you didn't select wilderness, like, hey, that's pretty cool, but not super reliable.
Do I remember yesterday the discussion of Giant Cuthbert in a breach?
Yes.
He
Yes, Giant
he
Cuthbert in
doesn't
a breach.
exist, but he should.
He should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% should.
They have like
Why
Big
is-
Evil Chicken and Big Darroch, but
Big
no
Goblin.
but no Giant Cuthbert, and
Why
that
is
feels like a
Cuthbert not
miss.
there?
Uh.
Oh, next Deadman mode, we're gonna have Giant Cow Boss and Awakened Cow Boss.
Yo, Giant Cow Boss in a breach is going to be fucking great.
I hope it's not even Giant Cow Boss, and I hope that the mechanic is just basically Doom car phase, and it just plows through the hordes of people.
That'd be good. That'd be pretty good. Overall, I think while this Deadman mode doesn't leave a lot to be desired, I think as far as a Deadman mode goes, it's the most fun I've had in a Deadman mode. I think the double-edged sword is PvP is not the priority. I'm sitting here killing Earth Warriors right now in the wilderness. In past Deadman modes, this is a death sentence.
I'm motherload mining.
Yeah, like I'm out
gotta
here
get
with
that
a
70
rune, I'm out here
mining.
with a rune pouch, casting manual spells, not even my training spells. Granted, I don't have any gear, so I'm just hearing like the starter shit in my our Artie cloak. But if I don't feel like whatever, like my bank is not on the line doing this activity. And in a lot of ways, I think that's good to get people in. In a lot of ways, I also think it's kind of bad because I don't give a shit about PvP. I want my rewards, and then I'm going to leave. By the time this episode's over, I'm going to be close to 12K points as it is. So get me, 15,000 more if I can stomach it for the Wilderness House Recolor, you know?
It'll be a struggle. I was running calculations, and like for me to finish getting my stats to 70, going to Prif, getting like first boss bonus for Hunlift, Corrupted Hunlift, Zolcano, and just doing a couple other things that like I wanted to do. It's like I'm still 10K short of 25K or 24K. Like it's like it is like the amount that you have to do in this game just feels overwhelming. I think some of that is like if you go to max an account, like you'll get a decent amount per skill, right? So like I'm 95 agility because I have the passive relic, and when I hit 99, that'll be 300 points. A lot of the achievement diary tasks are worth doing, but once again, several of those are like buying quests, and but it's like I think it's just going to be do a bunch of skilling and then throw out a bunch of clue scrolls. Because clogs seem to be the way to run. There's a lot of easy clogs to go and get. Like I think I'm gonna go do Bon Voyage and try to get like all the notes from like Numalite, and then like the fossils will also like you can turn those in at the museum and get a bunch of XP lamps. And so like I think that's probably a route I'm gonna take. But like unless you're trying to grind out like every boss and go for the full 100K, it's like I don't know when I'm going to be done. I would like to say that I'm going to be done by the time the episode comes out, but it's just it feels like a chore. Like I think that's the issue. Like it doesn't leave a lot to be desired because like it is. Oh, Oxie got a Vestas plate skirt.
We're gonna
Huge.
leave.
Run. That's what you do.
Where'd you
I
get that?
teleported. I got it killing Earth Warriors. I got a Vestas plate skirt. And oh god, I have a big skull. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
But
I don't know what to
at
do
the
with
end of the
this
day, it just feels like a chore. There's so much that it's like if you're not interested in PvP, like you don't intend to do the finale, it's like you're here to get a bunch of points, and the bunch of points is a task list, but there's so many different routes
but they're
that
not
don't
the
feel
tasks are not
useful.
the tasks are quick by no means.
Right.
They are not. It's just regular RuneScape, which is a part that I really dislike about game modes like this. When it's just fast RuneScape, oh boy, something about that just feels stinky,
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. It's
That
just
was my first point. It's the fast early game on a temporary game mode. But for what? My sanity? At least we have 17 more days at the time of recording. Like it is a short window, but you can spread it out over 3 weeks and maybe keep some of your sanity.
what I also feel has felt kind of bad. There's no guide. Like people haven't figured out how to do this game mode well enough to create an efficient guide on how to get the most points. So it's just sort of like you're here good luck. Figure it out.
Last DMM mode, I had a guide that like basically took you like, here's your first hour, like this is what you should be able to accomplish in your first hour of protection, and then by the end of the first hour of protection, you're ready to go into the next bracket. And so it basically had you writing 3 brackets of 3 hours of protection and got you up to like 9k points or something. Which like that's roughly what I was after. I think it got you up to like 12k, but I quit at 9 because all I cared about was the home teleport. But yeah, like every guide I found just showed the first hour of protection and then offered some sort of vague like, go nuts, like you have the basics, just go get points. And it's like that's just not helpful. Like Foe, I typically follow Foe's guides. He did 3 different ones, like a mage start, a range start, and a money making start. There was another one that was like a bunch like dead man mode points fast, and like if you looked at the pace spin, like it's literally like a well thought out guide, and then it gets to like crab, unga bunga bunga, and then says bracket 2, like you have the basics, go nuts. Like and it's just like there's nothing that says like here's how you get 12k points. Yeah, so it's like there's just a bunch of guides out there, but nothing too solid.
Yeah,
Like long term, I guess. Like every guide that I've seen is solid for the first hour of protection, but falls off immediately after.
Well, I mean, hopefully in the coming days, we see something change. Somebody's going to figure it out.
maybe it's a next year thing where people kind of solve this. How do we get efficient points? Because with a league, you see people get hella relics on day 1, and Deadman just doesn't feel that way. I don't think the system is bad. Maybe expand it, like I said, add quest points.
Yeah.
Because there's only a finite amount. And while people hate doing quests, you do get some interesting PvP scenarios, It's weird that diaries, clogs, combat tasks, and levels count, but quests don't.
Yeah.
That just feels strange.
I'm curious
Other
if
than
it's
that-
because it feels bad to like buy away your ability to do them. Like if you pay skull points to complete the quests, and then there's no way for you to go back and get those points. Like
And
versus
they
somebody who
autocomplete
wants
a
to-
bunch.
like 10 to 15. It's not anything.
I mean,
it's not a crazy
that's a lot.
amount.
Unpopular opinion. Just fucking give us the points and we unlock it.
Pay points to get the points.
You pay 5,000 points for Majorat 2.
Yeah.
It unlocks every quest in the Majorat line up to Desert Treasure 2.
Yep.
And then at 10 points for every quest point, that's what? Maybe 50 points back. So you get 500 points back in return.
Sure.
It's not like you're like, oh, it's stonks, you're profiting. Because it takes, at the moment, it takes fucking hours to get some points. Like, obviously, some things, yeah, early levels are pretty good, but you get diminishing returns around like level 55. And unless a skill is pretty free to train, you're just sort of like, I'm not going to fucking train Herblore past 50. I'm not going to train mining past 50. I'm not going to train smithing past 50. Like, I'm not
You're
fucking
listing
doing
all
all
the
that.
Song of the Elves requirements, and I feel attacked.
Well, get good, kid.
I just hit 70 mining.
Cringe. I don't know. So I think overall they're not cooking. They're definitely learning how to cook.
They're
and
close.
Yeah, it's like
almost there.
Yeah, we've given them a 15th chance to make us an entree, and this time it's actually pretty good. It's just a little burned on the bottom. And if we're being critical to be critical for just for fun, like I would prefer my food not burned. But all things considered, compared to how we've done in the past, not too bad.
Yeah, it's no skill tree bingo, but
No, nothing ever will be,
I feel like that's a good
Nothing.
place to leave it off. Send us to the break. How are you feeling, boys?
It could be, yeah. Is there going to be a normal second half of this episode? There might be. There might be a normal second half. It might be.
We at least got to do patrons and a fun question.
We can't tell. You can't spoil the fun question for the guest. We're supposed to ask him if he had a fun question.
I came
the hell?
prepared with a fun question because I
Oh
knew that
my
you did that
God.
to your guests.
Attaboy.
I was gonna say, it's almost as if he's been listening in for years in the recording booth.
I
Well,
was ready.
well, yeah. I think, yeah. Send us off, Michael.
Well, that's going to do it for this half of the episode. Stick around, where we may or may not have a fun question by Tiki. Who knows? But we'll see after this.
Batten down the hatches. Go take a bathroom break.
Did you think you could hide from me, mortal?
You know what? Just forget it. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Death, the Grim Reaper, Azrael, ruler of the underworld, and proud father to the best undead dog in all of the known universe. A question, if you will, adventurer. Have you ever died? What am I saying? Of course you have. I've seen you die killing bosses. I've seen you die to other players. I've seen you die to my precariously placed dark wizards. And it says here that you died to... You died to the light puzzle in Akka? Oh my god. My point is, you all die. And if you think you're fancy because you haven't, trust me, you will. That is unfortunately where I come in. Now don't get me wrong, I love what I do, but the workload is exhausting. And for what reward? Do you honestly think I care about the money that you have to spend to retrieve your items? And it's so frustrating. Adventurers are always asking, why is death so expensive? How can I be expected to pay this much money for failing at something I have never done before? They never ask, how is death? What has Death's weekend been like? Does Death have any plans for Halloween? They're always so self-centered. It's like they don't even remember what dying used to mean before I arrived. And another thing, I am not the reason that you die. No, I am the one who escorts you to the afterlife. You are the one who forgot what a Saradomin brew does. You are the one who decided to chance the man in an infernal cape and Armadillo Godsword. And I am not the one who said, hey, what is this boss's max hit? I'm sorry. It's been a long couple of eons. I haven't been out of the house too much. So, yes, I am a bit touchy, I will admit, and I will apologize. But consider this a warning. Soon I will make my return to Gielinor. Not for any evil reason, mind you, more so just to embarrass you in front of your friends. And if you can't handle that, well, try not to die. All I ask is that you be courteous to the ethereal being underneath the hood. Be sure to enjoy yourselves this Halloween, and remember that I am right around the corner, always.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break because I know that Tiki sure did. Now it is time to take a moment and thank our patrons for their wonderful and lovely support, starting with the Wise Old Man tier. Our newest Wise Old Man patron this week is Kazuma. It's a word I've never said before, but you know who you are, Kazuma. I think that's how you say it. Welcome, and thank you for your patronage to our Patreon, and you are now a patron. And on the screen now is our other Wise Old Man patrons. One of them joining us in the booth today, Tiki Mug. Thank you, Tiki, specifically for your support. I don't think we've ever had a patron as a guest. That's cool. Besides that one episode that we don't talk about.
The funniest part about Tiki being a patron is that Tiki's also a server admin, and Tiki can join every VC without limitation, just like Michael and I can. And he still pays to be in the recording booth.
Wouldn't keep me out of here if he wanted to.
And we love you, and we appreciate you, just like we love and appreciate all the other Wise Old Man patrons who are on the screen. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to join at the Wise Old Man tier, that's when you get the recording booth access that Oxie just mentioned. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the Wise Old Man tier. Moving on now to our other shout out tiers. First up, we have the KBD tier, shouting them out by name each and every episode. So big shout out and big thank you to Two to Fly, Oxie's dad, my dad, all of our dad, Cloud Kicker, Crash Out Jack, Yama Edition, Elite Oreo Dunker, Glob Mob, Kieran, our third favorite Patreon supporter Ralph, Run Metal 15, Ryan M, Rylithian, Strigarius, and the Big G Jordy. Thank you to all of our KBD patrons. You guys are amazing, and we appreciate you so very much. Last but certainly not least is our Jad tier shoutouts. Big thank you and huge lovely shout out to all of our Jad tier patrons, starting at the top: Fran Skyway, Kyrandia, Mithril Fork, Petite River, Rack and Roll, Soggy Waffles, the S tier Deviled Egg, and Woloznik. You guys are amazing. All of our patrons are amazing. And if you would like to join them in supporting the show, you can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/XPWaste, where we have a bunch of different tiers that you can check out, a lot of different benefits. Choose one that you most align with, and we will appreciate you so very much. Again, that's patreon.com/XPWaste. I did want to do a little curveball and address a couple of comments that I personally got on 2 episodes ago where I said, fuck capitalism, but hey, I started my own business. I get it. Fuck capitalism. But like, hey, I'm allowed to start a business and we're allowed to talk about Patreon. I get that. I feel like my business is not so much a capitalistic venture. I'm providing a service. It's different. I'm not some tech guy who made an app to solve a problem that he also created. So like, I get it. But I do see the irony. But still, fuck capitalism. Anyway, it is now not the time that I would go into community question nor achievement of the week. So I am going to throw it over to Oxie to give us a fun little segue, as he always does, for what we do next.
Normally, this is the point in the episode where I finish up Achievement of the Week, but Achievement of the Week is not happening this week. So I guess, Tiki, do you have a fun question for us this week?
I do.
Look at that. This is what happens when a guest comes prepared, guys. That's great.
I was curious. Recently came back from a trip from India, and while I was there, I saw the Taj Mahal, and one of the things that always interested me was the 7 wonders of the world, and so I'm curious what is on your 7 wonders of the world list for Gielinor.
Ooh,
You got a whole bunch of very interesting mystical lands and land masses, and so I'm curious what is among your your top 7, because the Fortis Cawthon I'm sure is gigantic, or the Colosseum itself, but you even got the depths of underneath Camtorum where the ancient city was. I'm curious, what are your
Are we talking 7 wonders of the natural world or 7 wonders of that are man-made structures? Because if you're looking at Earth, right, the Great Pyramids of Giza are the only remaining wonder of the world still standing, right? The only one of the original 7 still standing.
There's the ancient world, natural world, and new world.
Yeah, whereas I think it's Victoria Falls or natural world. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of grounds to do both. I agree.
I think you do both.
I
was thinking more man-made because, it is a mystical world, but I feel like there's not a lot of necessarily naturally occurring major wonders here.
I don't know. I feel like the Soul and Blood Altar, that area could be a pretty cool natural wonder of the world. Barbarian Falls could be a pretty cool natural wonder of the world. The Wilderness Volcano, as I'm pretty sure it's one of the only true volcanoes in the game, But if we're talking man-made world, you're cooking with Fortis. Maybe Fortis
is definitely one.
Is it do we think it's the Colosseum or the Cawthon? Either way.
Both together.
The issue is, it's if you're looking at top 7, fucking Chambers of Zarek, Theater of Blood, it's your raids probably have your top, have 3 slots there.
I was gonna say Mount Quidamortum Mount Quintemortem isn't that impressive looking, though, is the thing. I think part of the reason why the Great Pyramids of Giza are part of the ancient wonders of the world is despite what it took to make them, they're also fucking huge. You know, like if any, you could put, there are pyramids everywhere in Egypt, but the Great Pyramids are the biggest question mark. I've never been, I'm not sure. But they're very large, they're very opulent, whereas the Chambers of Xeric is just a very small, ruined area. Now, Vercingetorix, on the other hand,
You don't think like
Vercingetorix
the
is pretty
inside
impressive.
of the inside would count for Chambers of Xeric? The
I think it would. Like the
like the
caverns
actual
themselves.
chambers, not the mountains.
It could, you know. I'm not knocking Chambers off the list. I just think of the big three, the Xaltavas pyramid, the Xaltavas pyramid, and Vercingetorix probably supersede it as far as like
Yeah.
visual appeal. You know,
I think a really fun one for a man-made wonder is the Dark Wizard Circle south of Arok. It's
Yeah.
small, but it's very iconic in RuneScape.
I'm also a fucking idiot. The Karamja volcano is definitely a more impressive
Yeah.
volcano. How do we feel
I wasn't gonna
about?
say anything.
You should have. How do we feel? First of all, Tree Gnome Stronghold. That's definitely. Is that natural or man-made wonder of the world?
Riff, also a question.
Well, that was going to be my question: is how do we feel about Prif? Because I feel like Prif definitely is a wonder of the world, but at the
This is
same
elf-made.
time, it's not even that it's elf-made. It's just, do people even see Prif?
Oh.
I
It's
think
like saying
they.
Atlantis is one of the wonders of the world, and
I
people.
think they have seen Prif since it like came back out.
Mhm.
Like, because I think didn't we see elves in? Oh, like I think elves like reappear, right? Because you have the charter ships on the shore, and you have whatever the race course guys are, Barracuda Trials.
Yeah, Barracudas.
Like those people are outside of Prif, like with understanding of the elf lands and elves existing. So it's like I don't know if like people can visit Prif, but they've definitely been on the outside of it and know that it
So then-
exists.
In theory, the Tower of Voices would make for a solid wonder of the world.
True. It's true.
The Grand Tree, if we're considering it man-made. Another one that I think could be, how do we feel about the Stranglewood and the city that used to be there?
Ooh. It's a good one.
Because that is ancient. That's like old.
Yeah, that's good.
I would question if you would just call the Tempestus there.
I feel like in a city like Tempestus, there has to be something central. I know we obviously haven't seen over there yet, but like Prif, the city, doesn't feel like a wonder of the world. The Tower of
Sure.
Voices does, you know?
Yeah, I mean the Stranglewood isn't that just like a temple, or do you think that's a full city in itself?
I'm not sure because it's so old and everything that lives there is dangerous. So
Okay.
I don't know. And then how do we feel about something like Vercingetorix that is essentially overrun by like human killing slave drivers?
I mean, like obviously it's not like vampires aren't a good thing, but like the build itself is still very impressive. You know,
That's true. The pyramids were also
I
built
mean,
by
I was gonna
slaves.
say the pyramids in the real world are like a perfect example of that same thing.
Here's a hot take. Amir's Arena. That's a pretty wondrous place. It's huge.
Have you
Big
seen
build.
the duel arena in RS3?
I've not.
Dude, the RS3 duel arena is actually kind of pretty. I'm not gonna lie.
The ancient vault is also super cool from the outside.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
the ancient vault's pretty cool. That's a good one. Ancient vault's a good one.
The Slayer Tower seems like an obvious choice. It's pretty big, iconic. If we're
Do we
choosing,
think-
even if you want something from Mauritania.
In a similar vein, do we think the Paterdomus Temple,
Where's
because
that?
of its significance, it's the barrier between Mistlin and Mauritania,
Oh.
where you do Priest in Peril, like with those big ass statues on either side? Do we think the Paterdomus Temple is a wonder of the world?
I could definitely see it.
Yeah.
We have to say that the gate between Taverley and Falador is at least a RuneScape wonder of the world.
One with a lot of
The
history. that's for
Taverley
sure.
gate. Yeah. We talked about it in our recap, or not. Was it last week? Week before?
Mage Arena gotta be up there.
Oh, in the
Major Arena is
wilderness.
pretty
Yeah.
impressive. If we say rune crafting, what about like rune crafting altars?
Honestly, the Winter Todd. That is a man-made wonder to old.
Another natural one that, because we kind of moved to like man-made, but a natural wonder I was thinking about would be like White Wolf Mountain. It's a pretty cool natural wonder. Another iconic one as a kid. Scaling White Wolf Mountain when it really is just a big hill. It's nowhere near a mountain.
I was like, is the Inferno one? But the Inferno may be
I
more
think
natural.
Inferno is. Inferno would be man-made or like race-made.
Yeah.
Because like the lores that they dug too deep in search of memories or whatever and
Mhm.
dug up something. So it would be the equivalent of us digging a really, really deep hole and being like, I wonder what's down there.
Just like Minecraft.
Yes.
Digging a chunking error.
Well, thank you, Tiki, for that fun question. Thank you very much. That was a good one. Very, very good one. I don't think we've had that one, to be honest with you. Very nice.
I'm gonna keep looking around because I just got up to the Gorok area. You know,
Yeah.
all those old Gorok temples and shit like
Gorok's
that.
prison's got to be interesting too.
And if the blood and soul altar are man-made, that's pretty fucking cool too.
Like that, I think that's the question though. Is like if we're talking man-made or like Gielinor made or like God, like it's like there's a lot of gray areas. With
Yeah.
man-made, like right, because like the ancient vault and Gorok prison, like those were made effectively by gods.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know if that fully counts, but it also feels like it should count. Same thing with Prif. Prif, I think, was technically made by like Saren.
But it's not naturally occurring.
But that's the question: is like if a god makes a structure, is that not naturally occurring?
Mm.
Well, like that's like if that's what distincts like natural wonder of the world versus made wonder of the world. Like if somebody makes the planet, like is it naturally occurring or man-made?
It's
Like
too
in
big
theory,
brain, brother.
Gielinor made everything. We're going very existential here.
I was gonna say, I think we're getting into some interesting territory that might be outside the scope of the podcast.
You said it
because
was mainly about old school RuneScape. We're going existential.
mainly, yes. I was gonna say, I don't know. People got pretty upset about the capitalism rant. I think if they hear me talk about religion, they're gonna explode.
We're talking about
So-
fake religion.
Regardless, the what's it called? The similarities exist. You know.
They do. Was that the episode, boys? I do believe it is.
Thogert said Xpwaste best OSRS religion episode when? I would say it has potential, but who knows?
Zaros, 100%.
We could do a god tier list. It's pretty on point. That's pretty on brand for us.
But only if you put every god in the god tier.
Oh.
It's like a 30-second episode. You put it up, you call it a day. Pre-record it for a day that you're sick or something. And
Honestly, we do it as an April Fool's episode, and we film it like a regular episode. But Michael and I have the same debating that we always do for like Thanksgiving food, where Michael's like, "Is this your lock-in? Are you really gonna lock this one in?" Yes, I'm gonna fucking lock in Gothix in the god tier. He's like, "Fine. Well, only if I can have Zaros in the god tier." And I'll be like, "Fine, okay, that's your lock-in. I can't argue that." And then we just have conversations about like a masket, kind of mid, god tier. Like it's a
Perfect.
full hour-ish long tier list, but it comes out
And
on
there's
April
only one
Fool's
tier.
Day. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just one tier for every god.
Can't show our hand, Oxie. She just showed
Who
our
knows?
hand.
Maybe we got
Damn.
something else cooking up for April Fool's Day. Who knows?
Well, boys, I think that's what we're going to call it. And to you, the listeners, that's going to do it for the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate all of you so very much for your support. If you want to support us in other ways, check out the description. We have a bunch of cool things listed in there. You can join our Patreon. You can check out our merch store. You can email us a fun question or send a fun question to our P.O. box, where I will eventually go get it and read it on an episode. So that'll be great. But yeah, check out the description. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, do all the things the algorithm likes. And I do want to leave us with a community question maybe for next week. What do you think? Let's let Tiki pick the community question for next week.
I already came up with a fun
Got you,
question. My job is
motherfucker.
done.
Got you,
Nope.
motherfucker.
No.
Okay, no. Okay. There's no community question for next.
Bold of you to let him run so quickly.
There's no community question for next week. We're just gonna read the one from last week. So.
We've done it. You're
Anyway.
welcome.
Wow. Next time you guys see at Tiki Mug at the Gauntlet, ask him what his favorite community question is. Fucking rat.
I came up with a fun question. What do you want from me?
A community question. We've made it pretty clear. But no, that's okay. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.